Welcome to Edward's Greenhouse. Today I'm going to show you how to put together the Lucky Gnome Garden. It's in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day that's coming up, so I will tell you what comes with your garden. So you'll get this bag of goodies that we'll go through in a second. You also have your basket here with a liner in it, so that'll help it from leaking onto a table should you keep it on a table at home. You also get your Shamrocks or your Trifolium, which is a perennial here in the valley, and I wouldn't put it outside quite yet. It might nip the newly green leaves, but eventually you can, and it'll come back year after year. You'll want to put it in a shady area. So you'll also get sweet little violas. These are very cold hardy, so they can take a freeze and bounce right back. They're truly considered a biennial in the valley, but sometimes you can get them to come back year after year if they're in a protected, cooler area in the shade. But I like to use them for a spring to fall kind of look in pots and in my garden spaces. So in your bag, you have a cute little gnome and a rainbow and some stickies. We'll set that aside. And then you also have some moss, some different colored mosses that we'll put on around the plants at the end. And then you also have some charcoal and some soil in this bag. I've been trying to put things in paper bags, less plastic, so all you have to do with this, I've just put the charcoal right on top of the soil. The charcoal is going to wick away the moisture and help just with the water retention in the soil, because you won't have drainage in here, so you have to be careful when you water. So we'll just pour it right in there. You might not want to put all of it in there. You want to save a little bit to tuck around your plants. So I put about half, and I'm just putting a bottom layer of soil and charcoal. So then we'll plant our Trifolium, our shamrock, and it's truly up to you where you want to place it. I'm going to put it in the middle, and I'm going to put my violas all around the shamrock. This is pretty welly rooted, so I'm going to just tickle the roots. So what my grandpa taught me, you just gently kind of tear them apart. That'll help it root into the soil. So I'm just going to place him right in there. And then we're going to put our violas in there. So to get the violas out of the pack, just squeeze the little pack at the bottom. At the very, very base of the plant, gently pull as you squeeze, and then you'll get it out of there without hurting the plant. So these two have a good root system on them. So we're going to tickle those roots and then just place our cute little violas around. So I put 4 of them on the corners, and then I'm putting 1 up front and 1 in the back. You can see this gets a little messy, so definitely make sure to have a space where you're not afraid to make a mess. And then with your extra soil, you can put it here, and this might be a little easier. And then we're just gonna just fill in that soil where there's some open spaces. All right. Now that we have the soil there, I like to just tap it so it falls to the bottom. This would be a good point to water in your plants, and you'll want to water them in carefully because, again, you don't have drainage. So just, you're going to have to kind of play it by ear and pour a little bit in at a time, and make sure you don't have, the soil floating at all. If you do, just make sure to, pour some water out onto the ground and not let it sit in too wet of soil. But this would be a good time to water it in. You'll probably want to water it or check on it at least once a week. I'd imagine it's going to hold probably longer than a week, but definitely check in on it. And then now we're going to use our moss. So this is Spanish moss. It usually grows in the south from trees, but it's a fun filler. I like to use it to go over the edges a little bit. It's the first one I like to use because I can fill in quite a bit with it. A little goes a long way. You can spread it apart. There we go. Then got to put some green moss in so it looks like Ireland. This moss you can get to last a little longer if you spritz it. That'll help keep it green. So if you just have a little spray bottle, that'll help. And then this is preserved lichen. It's actually dyed, but I like to add it because I like the limey green, the contrast that it creates. You may also want to save your tags just for when you want to plant this eventually outside. So this is something you can enjoy for a few weeks in the house as a decoration for St. Patrick's Day. And then eventually plant outside, because all these flowers will want a good amount of sun in the house, but outside they're going to want some shade, and you want to make sure to acclimate them to the transition outside. But like I said, they are hardier plants, so. Clean up my mess a little before we get into our gnome. All right. So the handle is going to be your rainbow base. You have some little stickies. We use these in the flower shop. They're super helpful for all sorts of crafts. Here's your rainbow ribbon that will become your rainbow. And then we have these adorable little gnomes that are made in Idaho. A woman from Bliss makes these. She hand makes these, and they're absolutely adorable. Once I saw them, I knew exactly what I wanted to do for this class, and that these needed to be included. So they all have their own cute little character. This one's got a backpack with gold in it. How adorable is that? Just great. So we probably add him later. Let's put the rainbow on. So for the stickies, there's a side that has a little tab at the end that makes it a little easier. So what I would do is get it on the handle, and then you can just pull that off. And that's a little easier way to use these. So at the edge is where you can pull it from the paper, or put one on the corner. One in the middle. I gave you 6. I only used 5, so. All right. Cute. There we go. We have our little rainbow on our handle. I also chose this sticky so that if you want to repurpose this basket, you can, and you can take the rainbow off of there. And then our last finishing touch is our cute little gnome. Make sure to name him. I'm going to call him Edward, you know, because we're at Edwards. And just place him wherever you see fit. I'm going to put him front and center so everybody can see him. And there you go. Voila, your Lucky Gnome Garden to enjoy for the next couple weeks. Thank you again for joining us, and have a lovely day.